All right, welcome everyone to this official recorded version, and we're just really happy to have this chance and opportunity. This is one thing right now that can't be canceled, right? We don't have to cancel our online hangouts together, which is really, really nice. And we just took a minute to go around and introduce ourselves, and we have people on here from lots of different states: Ohio, Indiana, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida, Nebraska, Washington State. If I missed any state, feel free to chime in. But it's really nice to just have some camaraderie. And we are Kari and Gary Salmons. And we're coming to you live from New Albany, Ohio, which is a, mute yourself right now if you are unmuted. I'm hearing some side conversations. But yeah, we are in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. Our kiddos are in the room over, quarantined in the next room over. And they're busy on a fun, we just downloaded for the first time something called what's it called? Adventure Academy, which there is usually a paid subscription, but they're running that for free for a month to try. So for any of you families out there that have kids, all three of our kids are ages 8, 11, and 13, and they're all finding it to be very interesting. We just set that up so that hopefully they could keep themselves busy, and if they do really great, then they earn a movie night with us tonight. Yeah. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and change the view over here. So for the recording, hopefully this can pop up seeing our faces. But for those of you watching in live, you can feel free to change you can make it gallery view or speaker view, whatever you prefer. So I think what we wanted to do is just kick off this by sharing a little bit of background, like kind of a bio about who we are and why it is that we feel qualified to share with you on this topic tonight. Yeah. You want to start off?
Yeah, so we are Gary and Kari Salmons. We have been married for 16 years.
Yeah, May 1st will be 16 years.
May 1st will be 16 years. We just celebrated 15 last year. We have 3 kids, like she said. I am an attorney by profession. I was working for Nationwide Insurance. It's based here in Central Ohio. We're in Columbus. And have been there for many years, and to make it not too long of a story, Kari started. She was introduced to doTERRA by Betsy Holmes. Mm-hmm. We had a miracle moment with our son. She was sold on them, and our life was already beginning to become more natural. But with that, it became more and more natural, and users of the oils. And she couldn't help but share. It was kind of a traditional doTERRA story. Couldn't help but share. Started doing classes. I was, early on, I was like, great, you have a hobby that you can do with your friends. And that's all I really saw it as. I was working quite a bit, gone all the time. And, my job was, I felt good that I could provide for the family, but it wasn't totally satisfying for me. At any rate, she kept doing it, kept building. And I guess I don't want to give away too much because it's going to be part of what we're going to share today. But we are now Presidential Diamonds. I left my job in corporate America 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years ago next month. So that's awesome. And I can't believe that time's gone so fast. But it's been an incredible 6 years for us. And we'll talk more about that, but just the freedom that it's given us and the time that's allowed me and her to spend with our 3 kids has been phenomenal. I didn't see much of them when I was working full time. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, it's been great. So, and a Diamond Club has a lot to do with that, which we're going to share about today. So,
yeah, Gary has for the last 8 years referred to Diamond Club as doTERRA's secret sauce. And so we're really excited to have this platform and opportunity to just share why it is that he started calling it that. And I think it's a big deal to have heard that from him, because he was honestly, I always say, on this doTERRA journey, the biggest skeptic that I ever met of the oils and the business was this guy right here. And he very quickly stopped calling them snake oils as soon as he had his own personal experience with the oils.
So I believed in the product and using them, but I wasn't involved in the business.
Yeah, and he one day even read the policy manual, and then he was like, "Well, I was reading that because I was worried about this like trail you're going down." And he's like, "Actually, now I'm really impressed with the company." And you know, he used to write contracts and legal documents and things like that. So I think he has a lot of credibility, and for him to have swung so far, and hopefully that encourages a lot of you out there, or if you meet other spouses along the way that are super skeptical, that you don't have to take that as a you know, as a like a deficit. Correct. You know,
and it's not always going to be that way if you just stick with them. Yeah, if you have a husband who is still skeptical and not supportive, just give it time, give that person more personal experiences, just like with anyone else, so they believe in the product, and then just keep making money, and trust me, your husband will be perfectly happy with what you're doing. And just this will come up more in what we share, but as we were thinking about what we're going to talk about tonight, it is Diamond Club, you know, for me personally, it's Diamond Club that sold me on this whole thing. I mean, it was that process of the growth that we saw, and like a light bulb went off for me. So it truly was incredible for us in our journey. And that is what got me from being on the sidelines to, this is an incredible business that you're involved in. I want to learn more about this business. I couldn't get enough of it. And then now we partner and do it together. And we have ever since. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what we want to do is kind of take we're going to travel back in time together. And we wanted to give you a better understanding of where we were at in life and with our business when we first started Diamond Club. Because I know for a lot of you, this might be your first time to do a Diamond Club. This might be your third time to give it a try. But we're so proud of you. We believe so much in what this is about. And we know right now, this season, it's gotten a little bit, it's different. You know, first of all, we're so excited about the new updates that they've made to Diamond Club this time around. I think they've been able to make it way more inclusive. And even now, because of the climate of what's going on around the world, doTERRA is making it even more flexible with kind of the specifications to make it easier for all of us to share in creative ways with people around us. So, okay, so when we decided to do Diamond Club, it was about 8 years ago, 2012. And I had just gone to my very first leadership retreat ever. It was in Park City, Utah. And my mom, who's on this call with us, Lori Boss, she was there with me at that leadership retreat. And we had heard about Diamond Club for the very first time. It was just launched. And they asked people to like pop to their feet if they were interested in giving it a try and wanted to commit to it. And something just came over me, and I stood up and I grabbed my mom's hand and I was like, I think we are supposed to do this. And it seemed kind of crazy at the time because our youngest, Emily, had just turned 1. And so our kids at the time were ages 5, 3, and 1. And I was still nursing her. And I knew at the time, like Diamond Club had a lot of strict travel requirements as part of it. But I just felt like at the time I was solid gold. I had been gold rank for a full year. And I felt like it was just going to kind of hang on at that rank unless I did something significantly different. And so I was solid gold, and I had a couple of, my mom was one of my solid silver legs, and I had another silver leg, and then another premier, and then a kind of a baby leg that wasn't maybe about executive rank or so. So I came back and I told Gary, I said, all right, he was like, what is the biggest takeaway you got from leadership retreat? And I was like, well, hang on to your seat, but I really, really feel like we're supposed to do this Diamond Club thing. And as soon as I brought it up to him, and I explained, like, I'm supposed to travel and teach 4 out-of-town classes a month, have to get X amount of enrollments, all these different things. Tell him your reaction to me.
Yeah, heck no. I mean, it's like I was gone all the time working, And what, you know, my first thought was, this is going to require so much of me, and I'm not on board with that. I didn't yet see the purpose or value of Diamond Club at all. I just thought it was, oh, so now you're going to spend even more time with your girlfriends and do even more fun classes. Like, I had no clue really what it was. And then I'm going to stay home and have to, like, be with the kids nonstop. So my reaction was negative.
Mm-hmm. And I understood how he felt, because he would leave the home at 7 a.m. and didn't come home until 7 p.m. And he was really stingy with his days off because he had limited amount of vacation days. So I knew that if I was going to be traveling, he was going to have to use some of his vacation days to stay home and watch the kids.
Very stingy with those days, yeah.
And so I understood where he was coming from. It wasn't really a surprise, but we just talked through it. It was one of those things that I was persistent because I felt in my heart like if I didn't do something uniquely different to ramp up the intensity for a season, that we were just going to maintain right where we were at. And for me, I could see so clearly that we were really, really close to platinum and diamond and beyond, because I knew the leaders that I was working with, and I just felt like all of us needed something to help get us over that next hump. But he was really just like nervous about what this was going to require of our family. And one of the things that made the difference is we just had a big heart to heart. And I said, if I'm going to do this, we have to be all in as a family. And I have to honor that our family is going to remain the priority, that I'm going to find balance in the midst of this, that I'm going to make sure I cluster my travel days together. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to actually be really selfish with my time and just focus on the legs in my team that really need it, that need my time and energy. And I'm not going to just go scrambling after enrollments, because we all know that it's easier to get enrollments on our team where the team is like already thriving and healthy and growing. But I knew that those were the places that didn't need me the most. I needed to focus my time and energy on the smaller, younger, toddler places of my team that needed more of my help and hand-holding. And so really, once I had those heart-to-hearts with those leaders in particular and got their buy-in, and they agreed like that we would be doing Diamond Club together, Gary was way more agreeable to say, okay, I trust you. Like, I think one of the things that also made him trust the idea was the fact that we could quit at any point in time and not be like, like that wouldn't get docked points.
And what's funny about that is that's how she presented to me. She's like, this is a month-to-month thing. I know it's 4 months, but you can quit at any time. And I was like, okay. But secretly she was saying,
yeah, I was like, I'm not quitting. I mean,
she knew she was doing it.
Knew I was in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And that I knew that I felt like I could do a good job of honoring, like, keeping our family intact. But I did like that if it was causing any strife in our marriage or family, like, if I felt like it wasn't worth it, I could just jump out. So anyhow, we shared that little bit because for me, I think one of the reasons it was a big success is because personally, internally, I knew I was in this and I was really prepping my team and I was like going to be full speed ahead. And I think having that mentality of like, I'm going to put in what it takes with my limited time. I'm going to be really conscientious to do like the best I can with my limited time to make this work. Okay. So at the end of the first month, we hit platinum rank. So it started in May. This particular Diamond Club ran May, June, July, and August. And so by the end of May, we had hit platinum.
Because you had silver premier going in.
Yeah.
So she focused,
Yeah, so I focused on that premier and helped that get to silver.
Yep.
And then I was also helping that younger fourth leg really kind of relaunch, which happened to be in North Carolina, and Heather's part of that. The first, she's on here, Heather Esslinger, that weekend that I came. And really what we did, what I focused on and what I want to mention and sprinkle in here is the Back to Basics training that we're all really promoting right now talks about something called 6 weeks to elite. And when I look back at what made Diamond Club so successful for me is that I really was doing that without there being a program called that. But I was going to these particular leaders or these particular teams and helping to make sure we had at least 4 classes back to back, like maybe a Thursday evening, a Friday morning, a Friday evening, and a Saturday morning, okay? Because it was really easy for those leaders to invite people to come to classes if they had 4 to choose from. And then I'd go to that area and we'd hit back to back to back classes and help build so much momentum. And so the next time I came back to that area, it was like the ball kept rolling. So really it was kind of using this now what's called the 6 weeks to elite. And so then, if it's okay, we want to tell the story of what happened the next month. Okay, so it's toward the end of June, we had our family vacation scheduled. It was to Hilton Head Island. And Gary made me promise that for this vacation, we were going to be totally family focused, no doTERRA conversation at all. We're just going to be having fun with the kids at the beach, riding bikes, eating ice cream cones, and we're not bringing up doTERRA because at that point, it was almost 2 months in of Diamond Club. And, you know, there's a natural ebb and flow, right? There was the times when you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about this. And then there's times when you're like, this is still a lot of time on with the kids, right? So we got to the beach and we happened to bring a book with us called Beach Money. And we have it up there on our shelves. We should have grabbed it down, but it's called Beach Money by Jordan Adler. And Gary and I were kind of co-reading this book at the beach. So there we were at the beach reading Beach Money.
Which is a great book.
And if any of you have read that, feel free to like chime in on the chat or give any of your own feedback. But it's a short little easy read, but with some really great concepts in there. And I think I was reading stuff out loud and he was going back and forth. And at some point, as we were literally sitting on the beach together and reading, and he looked at me and he said, so, you know what? It had almost been 3 years of us doing doTERRA at that point. We were about to have our 3-year anniversary. He said, you know what? I really feel like even after all this time, I don't totally have a grasp of what it takes structurally to hit diamond. And I know like conceptually what it means, but what does that mean? What does that actually look like? And so we started talking and I said, well, if you want, we could get out your laptop. It might be easier for me to show you what structure we have going so far and like what we have yet to build to get there. And we only had the laptop with us because he brought it for work. He had to like at least once or twice during the week check in to work. So we pulled out the laptop back in our condo and I logged on the back office and we looked at the graphic tree and some different things. And I showed him what we had so far structurally and where we were. We were had already hit like platinum again. And so it was just like a few gaps left to fill that were maybe several thousand PV in different spots. And he looked at me and he said, wow, like, is that it? Like, we're literally that close to hitting diamond. And I said, yeah, like, we're right there, like knocking on the door. And he said, like, close enough that what's the likelihood that we could make this happen by this month? And we were there on our vacation through like the last month of June.
The last week of June.
The week of June.
It was the last week of June when we were having this conversation.
And so tell him what you told me.
I said, let's do it. Let's go for it. And it was a big shift for me.
Yeah, he told me pick up the phone because, you know, that's why I was like, I really just will need to get on the phone and make some phone calls and see if we can get some things going.
Yeah, I just saw like what that meant, like how close we really were, and to be able to see that and what that would mean for us and for her and all the hard work she'd been doing. I was willing to sacrifice, you know.
And I think part of that was because you had also seen like that I was willing to truly honor, like sacrificing hitting diamond that month necessarily because I wanted to honor like our family time and what you said. And that was important, you know? And I think that part of this was being honoring of each other, the whole journey, being really open to communicating, but it was like, he was finally primed and ready to see, and you saw it, like you got it, something like clicked for you. And at that point, we hit diamond at the end of that month. And then And then I didn't know that you had to hit it twice in order to be recognized at convention. And so it was like by mid-July or something that I realized you had to hit it again. And I was like, okay, we got to like, ramp it up. And it was really good though, all of that, because what happened was that momentum that I'm talking about. Like, one of the things that I've seen people get frustrated with on their different journeys with Diamond Club is that they work really, really hard for the 4 months, and then at the end you let off the accelerator, which you need to be able to do, right? Like anybody can do something with an intensity for 4 and like a short season, but you don't want to be living in that space. But what you want to see happen is that you've done the right things so that at the end of Diamond Club, you can take time to celebrate with your family. You can like reel back stop going 70 miles an hour and go back to like, 45 to 50, kind of like ebb and flow. And that your team you've created enough momentum that it's growing and going without you being there for every single class, every single enrollment. Yep. And one of the pieces of feedback that I really learned early on as I was doing Diamond Club was, we had little babies when we were starting this journey. And even if it were today with our kids that are all like, kind of preteens and teenagers, like life is busy and there's always a lot going on, and it never seems like a convenient time to just do something with intensity because our lives are so full. But I was almost ashamed of myself that I hadn't taken the time and energy to fly to go visit my friend in North Carolina, for example, who I knew in my gut was going to be an awesome leader and help to raise up an awesome team of leaders. I just knew like that these friends of ours in North Carolina had what it takes. But as a young up and coming doTERRA person, I wasn't earning a lot of money with doTERRA at the time, and I had babies, and I didn't think it seemed practical to get on the airplane or drive 8 hours to go and help support getting that launched. And then 3 years into my journey, when I finally did that with Diamond Club, it like forced my hand to see how fast that team grew like wildfire. It just needed me to go there and help to like stoke the fire and to help train on some of the basics. And then they have been, that team went and soared to a blue diamond team with lots of diamonds under there.
And do you think if it wasn't for Diamond Club, like, would that have happened?
I don't
Maybe
know.
in time,
Eventually,
but not with the same intensity and not with the same momentum.
And I think that growth could have happened before then if I had made the sacrifice and would have just like gotten in my car and flown over there. But I don't know that the timing, if you would have been on board with that, it just seemed like, oh, I'm not making a lot of money with doTERRA. So I don't want to say would have, should have, could have, but it was a huge eye opener to me. And that's one of the ways that I really hope to encourage a lot of you on this, is that those little sacrifices that seem like big sacrifices in the moment, if there are people that you have that like this is a committed and capable person that like would be one of my dream team captains or generals or like running mates on this journey, it is so worth the time and energy to go and put into them to help get them launched. Because I saw that with several different, the 2 different areas of our team, like both of those areas ended up growing to blue diamond and beyond, and I think it was so much of it was because of that 4 months of almost like on the job training for them, and being able to, they were relieved when I was done with Diamond Club, and they're like, now we don't have to listen to her tell the exact same stories and the same jokes. Like we can teach our own class that we want to teach. So
yeah, it's good.
That hopefully is encouraging.
I think there's a chance without Diamond Club, we could still be gold, which would be fine. But that was really the impetus that really drove us to bigger heights.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I can speak to that because I was on. Would you like me to speak to that?
Yes, I would love you to speak to that, Heather.
Because I was part of that that launch, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I did host a Diamond club class for you. And my husband was like, what is this all about? Because I had just gotten my family physician's kit or whatever it was at the time. And so we were still learning ourselves. So I myself have a skeptical husband, or did. But it did. I remember even just the personal touches that Kari gave. Like, she picked up the phone and called me. I was hosting a class and she picked, I can't wait to meet you. Like, just that personal connection, especially when we are isolated like we are right now. Still making sure that you pick up the phone and call people or leave them a message. Like, that was a big deal. And I think sometimes we think, even myself still, am like, well, that just feels weird. Like, who do they, like, thinking more of yourself or honoring that space of where you to them are a big deal, right? Like, you are the expert and you are the professional of your business. And so own that and honor that. And do those special little touches that that really make a big difference. So thank you for me being part of that experience.
Thank you for letting me.
Heather is one of the diamonds that's come from that team that, you know, from making the decision and the sacrifice to fly to North Carolina. And one time, one of those trips, I even took Emily with me, my nursing baby, and we found babysitters for all our kids and taught our classes. And I think part of what was so successful about what was happening with that launch, and Heather can attest to that, is that I told them, like, I will come there and help teach, but you all have to bring the people. You have to invite properly. You have to share samples. You have to give people the reason to want to come and let them know you're not going to want to miss this class. They all were the one to help to create the buzz, and they did an amazing job of filling the classes. And because they did, you know, Heather hosted a class and then she was able to book multiple classes off of that. And I didn't have to be there for all the classes that were booked because they had come to enough my classes at that point. They saw, okay, we know how to teach a class. And so I really think, I mean, Heather, don't you, when you look back at this compared to what this 6 weeks to elite program is, can you see how it's like almost identically mirrored in what we were able to do back 8 years ago?
Yeah. And literally, I was kind of a brand new oil user. So I was that hostess that didn't really know what I was doing or still learning oils, you know. So I was that person, and being able to talk through those, especially with the back to basics of what we have now. And we have like the hosting, it's exactly the same thing. It's just in a more easily written out process for us. So making sure you coach those hosts is very important, the people that are hosting the classes for you, because it is very new. And at that point, I was just really a brand new kind of oil user. So I was learning that. And that's what a lot, you know, some of your hostesses might be. So just making sure you are hand walking them through how to effectively invite and sample and all of those things is really important.
Awesome. Thank you for chiming in. I think that hopefully adds credibility to what we're sharing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that I had to get a lot of bang for my buck out of these, especially the classes I was traveling for. So right now, the scene is a little bit different because we're switching right now to doing online classes. And so it's all the more reason, because it's new and different for some people, that we need to be really properly coaching and prepping our hosts and hostesses and helping them do a really good job of inviting and letting them know, like, you're not going to want to miss this class, and sharing the samples in advance. We can mail them through the mail. There's a lot of ways that we can be teaching effective online classes. And it was such a success. We were able to hit diamond, platinum and diamond, and then maintain diamond going forward, and then continue to grow because of the momentum that we built and the training that we did. It was training up these other leaders so that I could physically step away and they all were able to do this without me.
And they were happy for her to step away.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's what you
Yeah.
want to happen, right?
It is. Oh, my friend Laura and I joked a lot about, I was like, oh, you're going to miss my little jokes that I always share after this my one-liners. And I'm like, you're going to make your own one-liners. So, well, now we want to just shift and give a few updates based on things that have come out in the team app. Some of this you might already know, but we just want to like give a few little nuggets here and then just kind of like wrap up.
Heather, she's frozen. I just want to make sure we're not frozen.
Okay. Hopefully everybody chime in if you are, maybe chat in if you're able to see us. I want to make sure we're not frozen. We're not having
sound good.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Just making sure.
Want to make sure there's not a connection issue. Okay. Why don't you share some of those?
Yeah, so you've probably heard these, but we will go over them. They were just announced, I think, yesterday or maybe even later than that. Updates for Diamond Club because of the environment we are in. All classes can be online now, so there's not an online limit for the next 2 months. Yes, this is through March and April, right? And then one-on-ones also can now count as a class. It falls within the 10-person or fewer limit. I don't know if everybody has that rule, but we do in Ohio. By the way, Ohio is way ahead of the game because our governor is awesome. I'm just kidding. Hopefully we're all ahead of the game. You still need your 14 enrollments. And then Kari's going to talk about Michelle Cannon's class. That's really good.
Yes. She just shared this on if you didn't catch it, on the doTERRA business Facebook page, you can see Michelle Cannon. She did a live on Monday on how to teach an effective online class, and her live video was only about 25 minutes, and she did an amazing job walking through how she is able to teach online and close like 90% of the people to help to get them enrolled. And so I highly recommend that. And that's you might want to watch that a few times even just to help get prepped and ready. There's also a really great slides, like PowerPoint presentation that was just shared with me in one of our groups that went to Prague on a teaching so that you can use, if you like the idea of using Zoom and using slides in the background, you can do the screen share and have a PowerPoint going. It's really beautiful, and I'm going to share that in all of our Diamond Club groups that I'm participating in, and you guys can feel free to share that with everyone. So it's just classy and easy, and it focuses on this class of kind of teaching the three cool things to know, and the 3 cool ways to use it, and the 3 ways, you can set up your own membership. Okay, so now I wanted to ask you all, have a lot of you on here, do you feel like you've embraced this back to basics system, or at least tried using some of the tools in the suggestions for the 6 weeks to elite? And the Facebook groups that we've in the resources put a lot of these things for like how to make your names list. I just would love, you guys can chat in, and I might actually just change this to the gallery view. Why don't I do that? For those of you that I can see your lovely faces, hi, there's a lot more faces on here now that I recognize. Why don't you raise your hand if you've been like utilizing some of those resources and tools, like how many of you out there have created a new 100s names list before you started Diamond Club this time around? Good. Okay, I'm seeing lots of hands raised. And then did you take that extra step and go through and kind of like figure out who were the 5, 6, 7 stars, the ones that you wanted to prioritize and reach out to? Okay, I see lots of nodding heads and raising hands. If you haven't yet done that, I really want to encourage you to go back into your names list and figure out, kind of go through the system. And there's some really great calls. I really encourage you all, if you haven't yet, or maybe if you stopped along the way, the daily mentor calls. They're free, accessible to everyone. It's dailymentorcalls.com. And just start through there, and you can do it way faster than 50 days. You can kind of cluster those calls up together. Really awesome tips on teaching how to teach an effective class that's short. And so that's what you can focus on. You can do that exact same model teaching it online. Okay. I really think that that's so helpful, just to give you momentum to know how and who you want to be spending your time and energy with during the rest of this season. Okay. Because your time is so precious and valuable. And a lot of us have little people running around us more now than before. And so we have to just be really conscientious about how our time is divided out.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Okay.
I think you shared that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these other bullet points we already shared about.
Yep.
So how about we just kind of wrap up with this, and then we can open it up to Q&A.
Perfect. I just want to say, guys, you know, and I told Kari I want to make sure I say this. I think what all of you are doing, being in Diamond Club, I mean, it is, I am so in awe of all of you, and you are all just incredible rock stars for undertaking Diamond Club. I mean, it is I personally love entrepreneurship, and I love growing something from nothing, and momentum, and building and growing and stretching. And you are in a place where you're doing that better and to a greater degree than you can do it anywhere. And I just hope you all know that and appreciate that. I hope no one's going into Diamond Club thinking, I'm just going to give this a try and let's see what happens. But I just want to say that, like, if you give it everything you have, I mean, you have an incredible opportunity before you, and you're all just for even undertaking Diamond Club, you're incredible rock stars, and we are so proud of all of you. I mean that. I truly do when I think about anyone who does Diamond Club. So hats off to everyone on this call.
And don't you all feel like there was never a more important time for the message that we have for people? I mean, it gets me emotional when I think about, like, we have something that is doTERRA, is called the gift of the earth, right? That's what doTERRA stands for. And it truly is a gift. It's a gift from God. And it is the best time ever. The world is primed and ready to hear what it is that we have to offer. And doTERRA has ensured us that they have the inventory. You know, they might have some outages slowly just because they're trying to keep up with bottling it. But we have a beautiful gift. And I know that everybody is feeling a little bit shaken up by what's going on, but don't let that rattle you right now, because you get to be the one that says, like, we get to be the ones that just, like, people are looking at and say, how are you going to respond? You know, that they're like, oh, wow, like, she just rebounded really easily. Like, she's pivoting to doing it online.
Yep.
And there needs to be messaging from you and from your hosts. Like, if ever there was some way that you're going to spend 1 hour of your time, like, be at this class that you're going to teach, because you're giving life-giving information.
I just want to jump on something Kari just said. Yeah, don't let this, what we're going through right now, and it seems like we're in the heat of it right now, don't let it slow you down, because it will pass, and hopefully sooner than later it will pass. And if we all slow down now, once it passes, we'll kind of have lost any momentum that we had going. And it'll take us that much longer to get that momentum back. But if we just keep going and modify what we're doing. I was encouraged by what Corey Lindley and Emily Wright shared on a call recently about how they are facing the challenge that's before them in this environment, and any business owner would be, but they are facing the challenge head on, and they're adjusting, and they're working with their suppliers, and it's, you know, we've just got to keep going. That's how business is successful. So I know you will all do that, but yeah.
And the other side of this is, I love, Amanda, you just chimed in here, adapt, you know,
it's all about adapting. Yeah.
Show people that you're able to adapt, and that our message is so important that you're not going to postpone or cancel it. Right. Like, even if it's just 1 or 2 people that can get on, that message is for them. And there's a good chance that you can book a class from someone that jumps on just 1 or 2. I saw someone else put on the chat that they did online, and they were able to book 4 classes using the keychain idea. Sandra, you shared that. That's awesome feedback. The other part of this that I wanted to share is that never before have we been so thankful about what career path we've picked. Yeah. And that when so many people are walking through not only being fearful about getting sick, but they're fearful about the economy and their job security. and that we're like, oh my gosh, we've truly built a pipeline. We have truly built a pipeline. And it really was launched. I feel like so much of that momentum was created in stability because of Diamond Club 8 years ago. And then we just continued to build on that. And so our oils, people need them, and our business opportunity, people need that right now. And you're out there to look for the people that you want to work with, that you want to spend your time and energy with, that also decided to partner with you in both ways, getting oils in their home and saying, yes, I'm open to another stream of income and getting creative about what it is that I want to build for my family, you know? So we really hope that encourages you all. I really appreciate you all getting on here to join us live. And I'm going to just go back to the gallery view before we stop the recording and see if anybody wants to unmute and maybe share a comment or a word of encouragement, or even a question.
I have a question, Kari.
Okay. Hi, Susan.
Hi. I want to know how you respond when your strong legs are asking you to do Diamond Club events. How do you tell them, how do you say in a tactful way, no, that you're working with others? I don't know how to do that in the right way.
Mm-hmm. It's a really great question. And you just have to be really, I think you have to have.
You've asked the right person. She's good with her words.
I think you just let them know in a heart-to-heart way, like, hey, I have to be selfish with my time right now, and I'm doing Diamond Club to help for my personal, like to help personally focus on the parts of our team that need the most hand holding. And it's your opportunity to totally brag on and elevate those leaders that are strong and say, you're doing so well and you're such a great leader for your team. You don't need me and they don't need me. Of course, selfishly, it'd be really fun for me to spend all my Diamond Club hours with you because we would have really dynamic classes and all that, but say, I hope you can understand that this over here is really where I need to selfishly spend my time and energy. And you are more than welcome to bring your people to those classes. You know, you can kind of just say it like that.
Well, and when you think about Diamond Club, I mean, Diamond Club, the point of it is to reach diamond, right? So it's a rank focused energy. And it's not that building energy into your stronger legs is not worthwhile. And then, you know, obviously they need to know that it's absolutely worthwhile because at the end of the day, it's unilevel.
Yeah.
It's unilevel is the biggest part of our check. And so it doesn't matter how strong those legs are. If they got people there that want classes, of course, that's where energy is going to be spent. But while you're in Diamond Club, the focus is, as Kari shared, you know, it's focusing on those weaker legs because the goal is to get to the diamond rank. And, you know, obviously you wouldn't say it to them that way, but that's the reality of it. So,
and if you're getting close to the end of the month and you're still shy of your 14 enrollments and you don't have people in the legs where you really need it to host a class and someone else will, then take that opportunity then. So that's probably my best advice. Mom, I saw you raising your hand a second ago too.
Yeah, so a couple of things are floating through my mind. So when you say that now's the time to go and now we really need, I think we have to be really careful though that we don't want to come across like we're trying to be hard charging in this, you know, people are really hurting right now. And so, I mean, I think we have to be, our attitude needs to be one of service and love and generosity, and how can I help you, and how, you know, what can I do to help, and not like we need to do this right now. People are needing this stuff, and it's almost like,
well, I hope it's always like that.
It's always like that.
I hope that's always the place that I feel like most all of you that I know lead from, that place. So what I mean by that, if it came across that way, is no, like, don't, you know, I mean, we have nothing but grace. I mean, my messages with people if we had a call scheduled and they couldn't, and I'm like, listen, there's nothing but grace right now. Like, we all are trying to navigate this environment that we're in. But what I mean is, I think that you can be confident in that this is an important message that we have to share, not because of 14 enrollments. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about because people sincerely need the message that we have to share. And so the reason someone agreed to host a class with you is because they believed that a few weeks ago. And so it's even more true today. So let that person know, like, hey, if we need to like have some wiggle room to regroup and figure out another time or whatever, that online is going to work, be creative and flexible with them, but still be assertive with your intention of like, this is so important. I hope if you feel the same way, let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just saying that not because of you guys. I know you, but sometimes in Diamond Club, people get pushy because they know they have this goal they have to hit, and we get pushy. And that's not what we want to be. I'm saying it to myself. I'm saying it to all of us here, that we put those 14 enrollments down at the bottom of our list and put whatever the needs of the people that we have to reach. It hit me last night in the middle of the call. We just found out that our next door neighbor is being tested for the virus, that she has symptoms and she doesn't know if she has it. But it hit me in the middle of the call last night that after 2 years of sharing with her, I finally enrolled her in January, and she's got the oils. She's got what she needs. And I'm so glad. You know, maybe I was being gently pushy with her. I mean, it just was inviting her, I was sharing oils and doing what we do. And at one day she said, you know, I really do want to know more about that. Let's get together. And I'm so glad. So in a gently pushy way, which isn't pushy, we need to get this out to the people because they need these. People need it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Good word. Does anyone else have a testimonial to share, or something that they've been encouraged by recently, or a question or any other thing to share before we wrap up? Aunt Patty.
Hi.
Unmute there you are.
Okay. Hi guys. Sorry
Hi.
I'm late, but I loved it. Thank you so much for your encouragement and help. I have this is kind of a question and maybe an idea for Susan, since for the next 2 months everything has to be online. Why don't you send some things, because like your stronger legs, I'm thinking this too, because I've got 2 that are fairly strong legs that I don't need to focus on, but I do need to focus on my weaker one. But some of the things that are already, on Zoom and already, I know Lori did one yesterday and I think it was recorded, that should be something that we can send. Oh, it didn't record?
We had all kinds of technical issues.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. There's so many things that we can send people, and encourage your strong people, which I am too, that I love your answer, Kari, and the fact that we have to say, hey, I'm here for you, but, and I need to practice the wording you had too. But, in this time that we could send them something that they could share with people. And then if they're interested, you can be involved in a Skype call or a Facebook call or whatever, and then it would count for your enrollment too, right?
I mean, you can have a whole lot of people in these online classes.
That
Yes.
changes everything. This online thing changes everything.
You can be in 10 places at once now. It's awesome.
Look at us right now. I mean, this is a group of 20-something people from all over the country.
Exactly. And I think that the problem that what Susan's describing is more of a problem when you're face to face.
It is.
And so since you and I and many in this group have already done Diamond Club before, that's we're thinking the way it used to be. But I had, this kind of just opens the borders here.
Yeah.
So
good word.
I have a class that was scheduled in Phoenix that we rescheduled online for tomorrow night. And the people that couldn't make last night's class, I'm just inviting them to that. I mean, who cares if there's 30 people that are going to be in Phoenix there, right?
Right.
He has 34 people coming.
Oh my goodness.
So with that in mind, I think that you also need to keep in mind the rules that some of the good parameters when you're having an in-person class, that if you have 10 people there, that you need to have enough people to help close and answer the questions for the other ones. So you might want to really just make sure you have enough, like if you're opening it up to the other leaders to invite their people, then you need to also make sure that those leaders are the ones that are going to be following up with, at the end of the online class, when you say text me, you could also say text or whoever it is that is your leader that invited you to this class. You know what I mean? So you might need to get creative, because I don't want any of you to feel like you have to follow up with 34 people after an online class. And so we need to kind of think of some of those parameters and just get really creative and have fun with this interesting challenge that we have.
I think it's really awesome that we're now, for me, I had never done an online intro to oils class ever before last night, ever. and so it's really good to put us out of our comfort zone, right? And I think it's awesome that doTERRA is letting us do this, because it opens up the door to so many things that we couldn't do before.
I love that. Okay, I see Joan and Janet both have their hand raised on here. Is that because you wanted to share something or have a question?
I raised it earlier. I'm just taking it all in.
Okay, good. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yes, I raised mine earlier too when you asked for a show of hands.
Oh, great. Okay.
So
you can put your hand down now.
Man, your arm is tired.
I have. Oh, like I said, me and lower hand. Yes, there we go. Thank you. Thanks, Kari.
Well, I think we can go ahead. One more chance to open it up. Anybody else on here want to?
I would love to say something really quick.
Yes, Amanda.
I'm cooking fajitas for my husband who's about to be home, so I won't turn my video on. But I'm at first, this whole online thing kind of, we get so used to teaching our in-person classes, and last round of Diamond Club, you get that down and you have your method, and then this all changes. And I just today I was talking to Leanne actually, and I was like, what a unique opportunity to really fine-tune our ability to teach classes remotely for people in our team all over the country, and how to kind of come alongside our leaders who are for me, in Florida and in New York, that don't get me all the time, that I can say, this is still possible wherever you are around the globe. And so I just thought, regardless of what happens with my Diamond Club this month, and if we move on to next month, we still have a business at the end of this. And so the ability that we have, that we're forced to kind of fine tune this whole other aspect of our business, teaching classes online, following up online, is kind of a blessing, because now we're going to become experts at both things. And so we already probably know how to teach a great class and know how to teach an in-person wellness consult. But to do that remotely, if we enroll somebody in a different state, that could be a weakness, could have been. And now we're able to really capitalize and fine tune that part of our business that I think will just make all of us stronger. And so I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest. That it's just a different opportunity for all of us, I think.
How many of you can say you totally agree with that? That's awesome. Yes. I know, for those of you that we can't see your faces, you would be raising your hands. Thank you for sharing that perspective, Amanda. It's so true. I mean, that goes for us. I mean, we've completely built our whole business very organically, face-to-face. And so this is going to be a big shift, and I think a huge opportunity for us to get out of our comfort zone and figure out how to sharpen these new tools in our tool belt, right? Jill, were you going to share something?
I just had a question on the Zoom that you guys actually have, because I know there's like the free version of Zoom, but I was looking at the different levels of that, and I was wondering what everyone uses, because I want the version that you can go on Zoom, but then it streams into your Facebook live group. Do you know if that
Yes, we can actually totally speak to that because I had that, we were paying for that version through Zoom and it was about $40 a
I
month.
think it was even more.
Maybe even more. And then it turns out that our good friend Neil Anderson has created a partnership with Zoom and has a bulk group discount for that same service. So it reduced our monthly bill
to $25.
Yes.
And I think we were paying like 55 or something like that. I mean, it was
Yeah,
a
we were
big
paying
reduction, like 60 even.
We were paying like the $15
plus 40.
plus 40.
Yeah.
So
I went on Abundance Builders and I actually tried that link from Neil Anderson on there, but it said it expired.
Oh.
So is there any way that there's an updated one?
We can reach out to Neil.
We can connect you with Neil. We know Neil.
We can reach out, and under where this recording gets posted in the groups, we'll put it in the comments there. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Because
yes,
I think everybody will want to hear the answer to that.
Okay, that would be amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Lisa's, there's a couple things chatting in. My mom said they use the Pro. Lisa said they've had good success with Microsoft Teams. Okay, someone just up-leveled to the Pro version. At least at the bare minimum, you're going to want the Pro version because then that allows you to get way more people on there and you don't have time limits and you can record and you can share your screen and do things like that. No, you can't do Facebook Live unless you've got like the more expensive, like either the Neil version or the 55 version that we were paying. So,
okay, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, Amanda's saying she's used the $14 version and loves it. The Facebook Live option is really awesome and I've loved that. And it's there's a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to use that function with Zoom, but it is really nice that you can share a link for people that don't have Facebook and just want to join the Zoom link, and other people that can come just by streaming on Facebook Live. Mom, you have another comment?
Yeah, so this was my thing and they're starting to talk about this. So how do you invite people to these and get them registered ahead of time so you know? And we figured out a way to do it through Google Forms, which is pretty free. But so we're getting into a whole different topic. I don't know if you really want to go here, but you can see that we really need more training and more insight. Mark and I spent pretty much a day trying to figure out that.
My personal opinion is if you're going to be doing online classes, that you need to keep it probably just a Zoom link that people are invited by that particular link, and maybe they even have a code or something. But it's really nice to have the functionality with Zoom in a different way if you also want to occasionally go live with your team and have something that's a captured video, and that $25 version gives you more functionality. But I really do think for a personalized private class that it won't feel private if you're going to be going live on Facebook with that. So I like your idea of having that people have to register, and that I'm sure you figured out some cool thing with Google Docs, and maybe we can just continue the dialogue in the comments under this where this is posted, because this is getting maybe a little bit long now.
Yeah, and so Neil, Amanda says you can have them register on Zoom and it emails them a link, but we don't know what that actually does. So we made it set up so that when they got this form, they automatically get the link, but we can ask from their phone number, for their email, which are things we have to be putting in Diamond Club. You have to be able to enter that. When people just come to your Zoom call, you don't have any idea who they are sometimes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't send you any kind of a list of anybody that's in your call. So you really have to have some way of capturing their names, their emails, and their phone numbers. The other thing is you can say who invited you to this call. So if there's many people inviting, they have to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they can also private message you in the chat on Zoom. They can privately send in. You can say, we want everybody to sign in, and this is what we need: your name, your phone number, your email address, whatever. And they can send it to you in the chat. So that's another thing you can use once you're in Zoom. So
okay,
this helpful info. We're all learning together, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for all of you that joined. I know some of you jumped in a little bit later, and so we're gonna share this recording in our Diamond Club groups, and feel free to share this in all the other places. I think we're gonna work together with Jen Fry to figure out what platform we're saving it on, so that it can be easily shared outside of our groups. Okay. We are cheering you on. It's an honor to get the opportunity to have some face-to-face hangout. And now we're gonna go give our kids a movie and some pizza, because they did a really good job hanging in there quietly in the other room.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a great evening. We're praying you all forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kari and Gary. Much appreciated.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Yeah, thank you guys.